I'm going to read Alice in the Wonderland, chapter 3. And in chapter 2, there's interesting expressions. And then I was thinking sort of strange things like London is London capital of Paris and something like that. It's very funny. And so, is Alice smart? I'm not sure. So let's check out. And the adventure is very unique, and then because Alice became small, Alice became big, and Alice went to the underground, expecting herself to arrive at the other side of the world, planet. Anyway, chapter 3, Cowcross Race and a long tail. They were indeed a queer-looking party that assembled on the bank. The birds with the regular patter, the animals were therefore clinging close to them, and all the dripping wet clothes and uncomfortable. The first question, of course, was how to get dry again. They had a consultation about this, and after a few minutes it seemed quite natural to Alice to find herself talking familiarly with them, as if she had known them all her life. Indeed, she had quite a long argument with Dolly, who at last turned the sulky and would only say, "I'm older than you, and must know better," and this Alice would not allow without knowing how old he was, and as Rory positively refused to say it, there was no more to be said. I liked the mouse, who seemed to be a person of authority among them, to call out, "Sit down, all of you, and listen to me. I'll soon make it right enough." They all sat down at once. Roger linked with the mouse in the middle, and Alice kept her eyes anxiously fixed on it, but she felt sure she would catch a bad cold if she did not get dry very soon. Said the mouse with its important airs. "Are you all ready? This is the driest thing I know." The silence of a while, and if you please, William the Conqueror, whose cause was favored by the Pope, was soon submitted by the English, who wanted readers, and then had been of late much accustomed to usurpation and conquest. Edwin and Morcar, the earls of Manchester, Northumbria, said Rory, with a shiver. "I beg your pardon," said the mouse, frowning, but very politely. "Did you speak?" "Not I," said Rory hastily. "I thought you did," said the mouse. "I proceed, Edwin as Morcar, the earls and Manchester, Northumbria, declared for him, and even Stigand, the Federalist Archbishop of Canterbury, found it was "Found what?" said Duck. "Found it," the mouse replied, rather closely. "So of course you know what it means." "I don't know what it means well enough. When I find a thing," said Duck, "it's generally a frog or worms. The question is, what did the Archbishop find?" The mouse did not notice this question, but hurriedly went on and found it possible to go with Edgar's and Thillings to meet William and offers to him the crown. William's conduct at first was moderated, but the insolence of his moments. "How are you getting on now, my dear?" He continued, turning to Alice as he spoke. "As wet as ever," said Alice in a melancholy tone. "It doesn't seem to dry me at all." "In that case," said Dodo solemnly, sliding to his feet, "I move that the meeting adjourned for the immediate adoption of more energetic remedies." "Speak English," said the eaglet. "I don't know the meaning of half those long words, and what's more, I don't believe you do either." And the eagle bent down his head, and to hide a smile, some of the other birds and tittered audibly. "What I was going to say," said Dodo in an offended tone, and was that the first thing to get us tries to be a cacao lace. "What is a cacao lace?" said Alice. Not that she wanted much to know it, but Dodo had thought that he thought that somebody would speak. No one else seemed inclined to say anything. "Why," said Dodo, "the best way to explain it is to do it, as you might like to try the thing yourself to some winter day. I'll tell you how Dodo managed it." First he marked out a race course in a sort of circle exact shape in the manner I said, and then all the parties who walked placed along the coast here and there. There was no 1, 2, 3 and away, but they began learning when they liked and left off when they liked, so that it was not easy to know when the race was over. Times when they had been learning half an hour or so, and then were quite dry again. And Dodo suddenly called out, "Race is over," and they all crowded around it, panting and asking Spot who has won. This question the Dodo could not answer without a great deal of thought, but sat for long times with one finger pressed and upon its forehead, the position in which you usually see Shakespeare in the picture of him. While the rest waited in silence, at last the Dodo said, "Everybody has won, and all must have prizes." "But who's to give the prizes?" quite a chorus of the voices asked. "Why, of course," said Dodo, pointing to Alice with one finger, and the whole party at once crowded around her, calling out in confused ways, "Prize, prize!" I had no idea what to do in despair. She put her hand in her pocket and pulled out a box of comfits. Luckily, the salt water had not got into it and then handed them round and as fruit prizes. There was exactly one piece all round. "But you must have the prize, sir, you know," said the mouse. "Of course," the Doodle replied very gravely. "What else have you got in your pocket?" he went on, turning to Alice. "Only tinsel," said Alice steadily. "Hand it over here," said the Dodo. Then they all crowded around her once more, while the Dodo's omnist filled the thimble, saying, "We beg your acceptance of this elegant thimble." And when it had finished this short speech, they all cheered, and Alice thought the whole thing very absurd. But they all looked so grave that she did not dare to laugh. And she could not think of anything to say. She simply bowed and then took the thimble, looking at the summons as she could. The next thing was to eat the computer and disclosed some noise and confusion. The large birds complained that they could not taste theirs, and the small ones choked and had to be patted on the back. And however, it was over at last. And they sat down again in a ring and begged the mouse to tell them something more. "You promised to tell me your story. His story, you know," said Alice, "and why you hate C&D. She added whispers and half afraid, and you opened it again. "Mine is a long ancestral tail," said the mouse, turning to Alice and shining. "But she's a long tail," certainly said Alice, looking down with wonder at the mouse tails. "But why do you call it that?" She kept on fooling about it while the mouse was speaking. Her ideas of the tails was something like this. "Sure," said her mouse, and that he met in the house, and let us both go low out what she could do. "Come on, I'll take no denier. We must have a trial. Pulled this morning, I have nothing to do," said the mouse to her. "Such a trial, dear, so wait. No jury, no judge. I'll be wasting our breath. I'll be judge. I'll be jury," said its cunning old fury. "I'll try the whole code and condemn you to death." "You are not attending," said the mouse to Alice severely. "What are you thinking of?" "I beg your pardon," said Alice very humbly. "You already got to the fifth ban, I think." "I have not," cried the mouse sharply and very angrily. "Not," said Alice, "to always let it make your house life beautiful," and looking anxiously about her. "Hey, do let me help to undo it." "I shall do nothing of the sort," said the mouse, getting up and walking away, even so missed by talking such nonsense. "I didn't mean it. Please, for Alice, But you were so easily offended, you know. The mouse only growled inside. Please come back and finish your story, Alice called after it, and the others all joined in chorus. Yes, please do, but the mouse only shook its head impatiently and walked a little quicker. What a pity, it would say, and sighed. Slowly, as soon as it was quite out of sight, and an old craftsman took the opportunity of saying to her daughter, "Ah, my dears, let this be a lesson to you never to lose your temper. Hold your tongue, ma," said the young crab a little snappishly. "You enough to try the patience of an oyster. I wish I had our dinner here." "And then I do," said Alice aloud, addressing nobody in particular. She soon passed it back. "And who is Dinah?" "If I'll not venture to ask the question," said Rory. I replied eagerly, for she was always ready to talk about her pet. "Dinah's our cat." "And she's such a capital one, though catching some eyes you can't sing. And oh, I wish you could see her," laughed the bird. "Why, she'll eat a little bird as soon as you read it." The speech caused a remarkable sensation among the party. Some of the birds hurried off at once, and one old magpie began laughing himself up the very carefully, remarking, "Our Lily's the most to be getting home, and the night air doesn't suit my throat." And the canary called out in trembling voice to his children, "Good night, my dear. It's high times. You are all in bed." "Oh, various pretexts." They all moved off, and Alice was soon left alone. "I wish I hadn't mentioned dinner." "Just as that," in a melancholy tone. "Nobody seems to like her, and down here, I'm sure she's the best cat in the world. Oh, my dear Dinah, I wonder if I shall ever see you anymore." And here's the fool. Alice began to cry again, for she felt very lonely and low spirited. In a little while, however, she again heard a little pattering of footsteps in the distance, and she looked up eagerly, after hoping that the mouse had changed his mind and was coming back to finish his story. I finished reading chapter 3, the Cocos Race, blah blah. Interesting. And then when Alice talked about Dinah, her pet, and then other animals like mouse or birds were afraid of the cat, so they left the meeting place. Interesting.